Hey, let me tell you guys a little story about myself.
Yeah. The world is so small till it ain't. Yeah. I'm building up a wall till it breaks.
Hey everyone, good morning and welcome back to another episode of The Roasted Mind. I'm glad to have you back in the new place that I'm pretty much getting settled in. I got this cool chair here, I got a green couch, which I never thought I'd own green before. And then of course, I shaved my head. Something a little different. Really kind of wanted everything to grow out evenly, but now I kind of end up just looking like Jumba from Lilo and Stitch, which, I mean, it's fine. It's part of the awkward stage of growing your hair out again. And today I'm drinking a sugar-free cinnamon vanilla latte. Just an easy drink, so something that I really like to make as like a cap for the day. And I was kind of wanting to talk about memories and I guess kind of telling stories. And when was the first time that you felt this? And when was the first time that you did this? And when was something that's really significant to you in your life? And I apologize, I sound a little sick because I'm still getting over a cold. I'm fine now. It's just my sinuses haven't gotten over it. So I apologize for that, for my difference in voice. But I was kind of thinking about the story that I haven't really told many people. I don't really think. When I was growing up, coming home from a water park in Illinois, and we were in the car, we were being dumb kids. Me and my cousin were in the back seat, and there was this Coke can. I think one of us, we were drinking soda or something, and as kids do, we decided to kind of break up the can as we're bored on the drive home, and we're breaking the can and tearing it apart and cut ourselves on the can. Unfortunately, the can is sharp when it's opened up, and I just remember my cousin crying for help, because there was a little prick and they were just bleeding, right? It was just a little cut, a little poke. I can't even remember, but there was just a little bit of blood, and as I believe a 3 or 4 year old, of course it's gonna drive you crazy, but I didn't cry. And this is kind of a significant moment for me now that I'm starting to reflect on it, because this might have been the first time that I had tried to gain a deeper understanding of myself, of who I am, of what I am. Is this even real or what? Or I don't even know what I was thinking back then. I was 3 or 4 years old, and that might have been the first time where I kind of stopped and assessed. I remember looking at my finger and just staring at it, not really sure what to say. I remember looking at it and just thinking, well, I don't remember what I was thinking, but I just remember being blank. Right? Maybe I was trying to find an emotion to kind of put to that, or trying to find some kind of feeling or some kind of signifier or something that would tell me that I need to react to this little prick, this little slice, this little thing that's coming out of me, it's blood. And I just couldn't. It wasn't an emergency, and I might have known that, but the fact that I was injured and I didn't even ask for anything. And maybe that's why now it's kind of second nature to me to have these kind of quick thoughts, because I've been doing it for so long in that way and thinking about things on that kind of more deeper analytical level. I mean, listen to myself, right? I sound like such a fucking, I don't know, like insult, like just like somebody that's high and mighty and this and that and psychology and so but no, I honestly think that this is the first time that I gained that awareness, and because I'd been doing it at such a young age that I had just grown and thought and experienced and really tried to understand. And as I became older, that just became more and more easier. Growing up, I wasn't necessarily a popular kid in school, right? People knew me, but I was pretty much kind of bullied a lot for my weight, my appearance. And so a lot of that kind of shifted my personality, right? I wanted to be like these other kids that were getting so many friends and that were getting so many interactions. I became like them. And part of that was that deeper analysis of thinking, well, I need to stop, or I need to start saying things that are more funny, or I need to start being more quippy, or I need to be more outgoing and really do this and really do that and put myself out there and make more friends. And I always try to think what or who I would be if I didn't try to fit in all of that, right? If I didn't try to become this person instead of just being myself. And I mean, I'm even still doing it today with my odd kind of back of the head thought of I need to go to the gym, right? Because I need to better myself, and I want to be this person that people see online, and I want to be this kind of human that people can kind of look up to and be. And we've talked about this before, about representation and what people think of me and things of that sort. And I really think that that might have started then, was me trying to change myself to be the funnier, the more popular, more positive, more kind of outgoing kid that people wanted to be around. And that was around elementary school age, I think, 3rd or 4th grade, when I really started to think, I'm doing this wrong. Let me change. Let me be like him. Going on, I was kind of lost there for a bit, I guess, kind of growing up. And I had lost that deeper analytical sense because I was too busy being somebody else. You know, I was too busy trying to be the funny man, the positive one. And I was distracting myself so many ways with different video games or my activities and things of that sort. And I feel like that was a big step back for me in becoming, I guess, kind of a person now that I want to be, right? A creative, somebody that's more focused on their goals. I mean, I definitely feel myself kind of relapsing whenever I look at my phone or when I look at, you know, something that's just a distractor. I definitely do feel that. I feel like it's a regression. And all of that came because growing up, I was pretty much put in front of it. And so it became a normal for me. And so I just got used to it. As a child, a lot of the times I was put into, you know, in front of the screen, in front of the TV. Right? We didn't have phones back then. I was put in front of the TV or told to go play on the family computer or do this or do that, as long as I wasn't bothering anyone. And so what would we call that? You know, is that, I wouldn't say necessarily neglect, because I was taken care of. Right? I was fed, I was never beaten, but maybe emotional neglect, negligence, ignorance, who knows? There's got to be a word for it that I'm not thinking of. I was ignored. I was ignored a lot as a kid, and so maybe that pushed me to want that attention growing up. And when I lost or kind of put that deeper sense away so I can just kind of be at the surface level, I reverted to that. I started playing more video games. You know, I did well in school, but because a lot of the time I cheated in school. I wasn't at all a good student. Like, I didn't care, and yet I still somehow graduated with honors. I have no idea how I did that. I wish that I did care more growing up. Now, you know, you get into college and real life slaps you in the face, and you kind of wish you had built up these habits when you were younger, and you kind of wish that you did these things when you were younger so you could be more successful at an earlier age, in my early 20s and my late teens. And I'm really starting to kind of recomp from that. I feel like I gained that deeper insight when I, you know, went to college, and I really started to think more about myself and really started to think more about what I can do to be better in my terms, you know, to be enough, I guess, and also still maintain kind of like a big circle of friends, and still try to maintain a lot of people and have these experiences that other people were having because they had all these friends and this and that. And I wanted somebody else's life while I was living my own. And so I really did try for that. And sometimes today I even still do. And I catch myself doing that. The way that I speak in front of other people is the number one example of that. This kind of quick quip, you know, easy response, can think of it on the fly, makes a bunch of jokes, doesn't take things as seriously on the surface. The kind of person is who I put myself out there to be. That's who I let other people think of me as. And because of that, I become hugely successful in making friends, in making connections, in discussion, in talking. Not discussion, but conversation. And none of them really know kind of like this side, right? That sitting behind, or I guess across the table from you with this coffee, in the way that I'm speaking now, in the way that I'm talking, and the way that I kind of convey my thoughts. Because I'm going to be honest, I'm going to be real. I know none of my friends watch this. Like, let's be honest here. I know that the majority of my viewer count, my listener count, as small as it may be, however, still greatly appreciated, are not people that I know personally. Very few. I know that there are some that they are watching, they are listening, and I appreciate that. And I mean, I can't blame them, right? Who wants to listen to this boy, this sad boy, this guy, this man, right? And we're gonna get to that calling me of a boy. Who wants to listen to this kid yap on and on about his problems? I get it. It's not for everyone. And so I know that a lot of the times, you know, very specific people that I know, that I personally know that are watching this, I mean, I greatly appreciate it. I do, but like, I'm aware that not everybody's watching this, and that's fine. You know, I've spoken before that I don't really do it for the views. I don't really do it for public. I don't really kind of do it for anyone else except for myself, because these discussions are our time to speak. This is my time to get things off of my chest, and hopefully that whatever I say is something that you can kind of relate to too. And so it doesn't necessarily bother me. Sometimes I wish that, yeah, people would repost my things, and I do spend a lot of time on editing these, and I do spend a lot of time on those promo videos that I put out. But nonetheless, I often think a lot of that really much was picked back up in college, of building that close group of friends and then trying to be that life of somebody else that I was, and not exactly being myself. And it's kind of important that I had to go back and switch over the word discussion for conversation, because I don't necessarily remember the last time I've had a discussion about things. I mean, yeah, there's like little discussions about current events and politics, and more just like agreeance conversation, agreeance talks about, oh yes, I agree with you because this, oh that's an interesting fact because I also thought that, you know. But I haven't really had like a deeper, meaningful, I guess, kind of discussion with people that are kind of understand me at that level. And I feel like if I ever do kind of speak on this level, on how I actually am, it throws people off. There's always an issue of what's wrong. I think what's wrong is that you don't really understand me, and it's not your fault. It's definitely the way that I've been putting myself out, and the way that I still do put myself out. And I've tried to change it. I've addressed it so many times. I have a video on it on my TikTok and Instagram from 2 years ago now, almost a year, over a year, 2 years, something like that, talking about this, and I still have done nothing about it. And because I act so much like this high kind of personality type of person, I always kind of refer to myself as just a boy. I feel like I'm mature in the sense that, you know, mentally and maybe emotionally, physically, but yet I still kind of convey myself in this way of just some kid, of just a boy, right? And I'm not too sure if other people, if they were to speak about me or think about me or whatever, they would refer to me as a man. I would say that people often kind of think of me as a kid, often kind of think of me as a boy. And that, again, that's not their fault, because I push that. I want people to think of me as this high energetic kind of person, and yet still be deeply rational and analytic and understand more on deeper levels. And so I've kind of mastered that balance in a way, but I'm not happy with it at all. Growing up, I thought I was going to be special, and I did nothing to work towards it. Yes, I was kind of told by, you know, elder figures and older family members and things that I had this potential, that I can do it, that I am this kind of boy, you know. And what did I do during my youth? I spent a lot of my time playing those video games, getting distracted, working to be somebody else, when really I should have invested everything. And yes, it might have been asking too much as you know, for a kid, but I should have been spending a lot of that time investing everything on myself, learning exactly what it is that I want to do and becoming a master, so that way I can set myself up for success. Lately, I've been feeling like I've been picking up a lot of the pieces lately. I've been really kind of picking up the slack, and I'm really tired. I come home from work and I'm incredibly tired. Then I have all these other things to manage, and it's just even less time in my boat. And we've had this discussion too as well about time, but I do feel like I'm kind of picking up the slack of being that special boy, being somebody who's actually worth something. It's kind of crazy that the story doesn't necessarily have an end. I guess now that I'm telling the story, it's more of just like reflections and pieces of my childhood and growing up. So does that technically count as a story? I told the story about the Coke can, so I guess that kind of counts. I've been writing this book about myself, a memoir. At least that's the genre that I kind of want to go with right now. Maybe it'll change. And it's about a specific period in my life where I was free, where I gained independence, and I became, or I was for that short amount of time, genuine. And I learned so much about myself, and I lost it all again. And so I guess that all kind of ties into this story that I want to work on, that admittedly I haven't actually put words to paper since, I want to say, no, I wrote a good chapter in April, but it's been a lot of outline lately as I'm trying to figure other things out. And per my last episode, as I'm trying to regain that feeling of emotion, which has been going well, actually. I'm kind of putting a lot of these notes down until I get that out of that writer's funk, and I can actually sit down and start typing and focusing and putting in this work. Am I a writer? Am I an author? Was I trained in English literature? No. I mean, I took English in high school and college. I found out through that I do enjoy writing essays. I do enjoy writing papers, and I found out that I am particularly good at it. Would I consider myself an author and writer? I think I'm just a guy who's interested in writing and authoring. I mean, do I consider myself an A-class musician? No. But I do enjoy playing the guitar. Do I consider myself a pro athlete? I go to the gym and I run. I'm trying all of these things to kind of become that special child, become that special boy, become somebody that's recognizable. Will that deeper thought, that analytical kind of rationale thinking, be a hindrance to me in the future? Possibly. Because I constantly overanalyze things, right? And I constantly thinking about this and thinking about that in hindsight, and what can I do in the future instead of living in the moment. There is a possibility that can hinder me, and it's a possibility that it has already been hindering me since I was a child. And maybe because I turned that off, I never knew how to live without it, and so I just compensated. Admittedly, that is something that I'm also working on, being in the moment, just kind of taking things as they come and realizing that I don't really have a negative thing. Like, I have a good thing going. You know, I'm using a lot of this kind of inspiration in my past and a lot of these stories that I can tell. And I really wish that, you know, we could sit down and I can actually tell you a lot of these stories growing up, and maybe I will in this next couple episodes. But I'm using a lot of that and bettering myself. You know, I'm not just sitting here rotting away. I'm consciously aware of when enough is enough. Right, enough phone time, enough distraction time, enough rotting time, enough, you know, of not doing anything at all. I'm aware of all of that. And so I just pick something up, and it's a good thing. I'm training myself to be better. I'm training myself to be satisfied, right? I'm working towards being that special person that I always was told that I was going to be. I might have lost it a bit there, and I might have gained a whole new other personality because of it, but now I'm trying to reverse that. How do I become that bright, energetic boy with the somber, deeper, intellectual man? That's where I'm at right now. And I'm being honest, I'm kind of excited. I'm oddly excited about turning this camera off and getting to work on something else. Well, first finishing this, right? Finishing this recording and uploading this for tomorrow, but picking up the guitar and just jamming out. I'm kind of have the feeling like I want to write again now that I speak it out loud. I want to show the world that it wasn't wrong about me. I want to show the world that it was right, that Alexander is special, and that looking at that drop of blood coming from my finger from this torn up, abused can of Coca Cola was the start of today. And was the start of all of my projects, was the start of how I treat everyone in the world, the start of how I speak and how I think and how I act, and I guess really like the start of becoming me, that satisfied version of myself, that deeper analytical version of myself, that intellectual but happy, energetic, upbringing, upgoing, outgoing version of myself. And this is not a promo for Coca Cola. I now drink exclusively Coke Zero, which is still fire, but Pepsi Zero is, but Dr. Pepper Zero. Oof, I think that one takes the cake, honestly. Thank you guys for listening to my story. And again, I understand a lot of my viewers here aren't, you know, more intimate people that I know, but that doesn't really matter. I'm just glad that you're here. I'm glad that we're able to talk and that I have this opportunity to kind of let loose in front of you. And I appreciate it. If you would like to share this, you know, repost or whatever, I'll let you do you. I'm not going to push that. There's not going to be a red icon at the bottom of the video that says subscribe and like, right? But nonetheless, I do appreciate you being here. Thank you again. Enjoy your coffee. Huh? See ya. Bye.